Welcome to the InSyte Podcast, and I'm here with the great young Seth. And today we're going to be going through what's probably the most important chart or funnel that any e-commerce store owner should know about, live in, and optimize for. You ready, Seth?
Ready. Excited. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. So this is one that it's maybe not the best audio version because I'll try and describe it for the people not viewing on video. But if you do have an opportunity to watch the video, just to get a bit of a great understanding, it will be helpful. So I'm going to start within GA4, within analytics, and I'll kind of just show you quickly how to pull this for yourself. But within GA4, you have your little tab on the left. You click on your reports, and within your reports, you're going to scroll down to find your purchase journey. And if you use something other than Google Analytics, you can do this as well, but it's pretty easy and mostly done for you in Google Analytics. And pretty much any call that we have with an e-commerce owner, we go through this funnel because it is literally the most important funnel to live in. And I'll explain what it is, and then I'll explain what the drop-offs are in each point and what do they mean. What does each drop-off indicate that you could be doing differently, that you could be trying to improve on? So just to kind of run through it quickly from start to finish. So every e-commerce store has this drop-off rate or drop-off process. So it starts with people starting their session, and it's really your traffic to your site. Then people drop off as they go, and then while they get into the next stage of viewing a product, and again, we'll go through what each stage means and why drop-offs happen and how to solve for that. Once they've viewed a product, they then add it to the cart, hopefully. Once they've added to the cart, they then proceed to the checkout phase, and once they've passed the checkout phase, they finally purchase. And that's the same, and that's true for every e-commerce store, no matter what you're selling. And yeah, today we're going to go pull apart every funnel drop-off step and understand what mostly causes it. There can be often multiple reasons, but the primary reason that causes it, so that you can try and troubleshoot your own and try and solve for that. What do you think, Isla? Is there anyone out there that this isn't applicable for?
I don't think so. If you're not living in your analytics, then it might not be relevant to you, but you should be. So this is an insightful reminder, not only on how to do it, like how to get there, because we've just gone through how to get there on GA4. Make sure, obviously, that your GA4 is set up correctly. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really valuable session, just as a basic overview, but also a good, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. So there's always going to be something here that I think someone can take out of.
Got it. So we're going to start just the first step, and this little toggle you can choose to toggle on or off for yourself. You can show an open funnel or closed funnel, and essentially an open funnel means that you're looking at people entering any one of these steps at any stage. So, for example, you might have a remarketing campaign on Facebook, and you're trying to target cart abandoners, and you're trying to push them to a specific step already. So you're not if someone's abandoned the cart, you're not going to send them back to the homepage if they click on an ad. You want to actually send them back to the cart, or perhaps even to a checkout page and that. So if you actually live in an open funnel, you're including all those people as well. I prefer to actually look at a closed funnel initially because it takes people from the initial journey right down to the end, rather than like your traffic sources that are pulling people in the checkout phase and so on. If you look at an open funnel, often what you'll find is that if you are running a lot of remarketing campaigns, one of these will be bigger than the preceding one, which looks odd. So for example, you will see more people actually reaching your checkout page and actually getting to your add to cart page. And that's because the entry points are on that final page. So it's quite complicated to look at it in that view. So I find it more helpful to look at it as a closed funnel. All right, so let's start, Sethila. So the first drop-off to look at are people entering your site to actually viewing a product. And as I say, we take every e-commerce store owner through this funnel because it's just so important. And when this drop-off is great, and just to kind of understand how to actually view the drop-off, if you just look at the little bottom number here, the 72%. So in this particular store's case, 72% of the people that start actually don't get to the next phase. So this is like the drop-off rate. So if this start to product drop-off rate is too high, that typically denotes poor traffic. So there's not usually a web problem. It's not usually a conversion problem. It's not usually a site problem. It's usually the traffic that you're bringing is poor. So it's not always the website's problem. It's sometimes actually the traffic generation problem. And this is your first step to determine that. So start to product drop-off rate too high, traffic problem.
Maybe give us a little bit of a, what is too high? Is it 50%? Is it 80%? Just give it like a rough.
Yeah. I'd say like if it's over 60%, so the one thing is I think which is always jarring when anyone's looking at drop off rates, like the first I think estimation people have is that maybe 5% are dropping off, maybe 10% are dropping off. They don't realize how big these numbers actually are. So it's always like quite scary to see how big one's own store's numbers are. But big numbers, unfortunately, drop-offs are normal. So like I would say anything over 60 to 65% isn't great. But if you're at like a 50% drop-off rate, that's actually a superb result. Although it doesn't sound like it, it's actually a superb result. And I think maybe just one more thing, like often you'll find is social traffic drops off much more than search traffic, because search traffic obviously has great intent. So if you have the majority of your traffic come to the site from any of the socials, Facebook, Insta, TikTok, and that, it's likely that this drop off from start to product will typically be higher than if the majority of your traffic was direct, organic, or paid search. Should we continue?
It's not only just because there's obviously the display network as well, paid, obviously only going after the Google. So, don't just take it as Google.
Good point. Display, I would categorize in the social.
Yeah, it's only going to be in your shopping as well as your search, like for your branded and then for your product, going after those exact ones. Then you're going to see a great intent. Otherwise, you've lost that intent. You're just doing another remarketing audience.
All right, so now you've got people to actually look at your product. Again, if you can't get people to even look at your product, it's usually the wrong traffic. So now, in this particular site, out of the 82K people that have actually come to the site, we're left with 23K that have actually viewed a product, meaning that they've gone to a product on the site, they've clicked on it, and that's the page they're on. Now, from there, people dropping off from viewing a product to actually adding to cart. Again, there can be multiple reasons and multiple variables involved in this, but the most common reason for that drop-off from product to cart stage is pricing, surprises, or problems. So if the price is higher than people expect, that's the majority or the biggest cause of this drop-off from here to here. So I think just to go to your question again, Sethela, what is good? I'd say probably a similar rate. It's funny. It's almost always these initial ones you want to try and be within 60 to 65%. Anything over that, you probably got to look at your pricing. But yeah, I'd say if you're under 65%, you're doing okay.
Yeah, I think pricing is a big one there. The quality of your images, what people are looking, because obviously that's your storefront. If someone doesn't see a good quality image, or the image is pixelated, or it doesn't load well, that's going to heavily affect it there. I'm just thinking of a few others. If you don't say that you ship to a specific location, that's also going to throw someone off. Yeah, there's a few other, like if there isn't a warranty, if your competitors offer a warranty, like all those other elements that someone's considering when they're shopping, they're going to look through all of those elements on your site, and that also can contribute to that little drop off there.
100%. And now we get to the transactional funnel part of the site, and that's where we've almost got rid of the people that are the wrong fit, either because they're the wrong traffic or they weren't aware of the price, and now it's like buying time. So now they've actually added something to the cart, and now we want obviously the majority of those to purchase. And I think that the biggest lever happens in this space, although it's the least traffic you're dealing with for people that are now at the cart stage and onwards. These are the people that obviously have some transactional intent, and it makes sense to spend the most time here. And where you want to keep, and you'll see already these numbers drop off, like the drop-off rate from cart to checkout to purchase is all hovers around the 50%. I think that's pretty much like where you want to stay within or under. So from cart to checkout drop-off rate, you want to be within 50% or under 50%, same for checkout to purchase. And the biggest reason now, because we've ticked a lot of boxes, that you've ascertained it's the right traffic, they know the product's right for them, they've been happy with the price. Now, why are they dropping off from cart to checkout? For sure, not even a question, the biggest reason or I'll say the biggest two reasons are delivery price, and delivery time. So they're both delivery related. There's nothing bigger that kills conversion rates like delivery problems. So what you want to do here is you look at your delivery threshold, like that's the things you can play with. So how much do people need to add to the cart to get free delivery? You want to be, secondly, extremely clear about what the delivery threshold is. I think most sites have a poor cart to checkout conversion rate because they don't actually tell the user at any stage, or sometimes they tell them, but it's too late when they tell them, what do they actually need to qualify for free delivery. So you want to actually typically have like a banner, a static banner across the top of the site for the whole of the user journey, so people are aware the whole time how much they need to add to their cart to get free delivery. And then one thing that's like, I would say, lesser concentrated on or lesser known is delivery time is probably as important. And to be clear about how long it takes and to try and optimize for that makes a massive difference. I've seen, like, when people say 3-day delivery time boldly or confidently, that's not great. So I think just one thing to really think about in terms of delivery time, which people don't think about, is that we typically are explicit about our delivery time and make our delivery time to encompass our least favorite customers as e-commerce store owners. So the people that live in the most weirdest, far out places. And because those places are difficult to deliver to and they can be expensive to deliver to, we would typically just, in case we get those orders, that's the rate we'll display. So let's say someone lives way far, like super far out, and the delivery rate to them is 150 Rand. Like, that's the price we would typically put on our website. And if it takes 5 days to get there, we would say deliveries of 150 Rand, 5-day delivery time. But what we don't consider is that 90% of our users, or 90% of our customers, or 95% of our customers aren't that customer, aren't the one that takes forever to deliver to and is expensive to deliver to. We should rather design our pricing around the 95% of customers that are easy to deliver to, that are in our delivery range, that we can deliver to quickly. You'll see how that impacts your conversion rate if you're very clear about that. And that's the pricing and delivery time we mandate. What do you think, Seth? Have you seen this before?
Yeah, I have. Like, personally, like, even on Takealot, like, I'll go, and I love how, like, transparent they are about their pricing and when stuff's going to be delivered. It says this one's not in cart, or this one's not in our warehouse, so it's going to take an additional 2 to 3 days to get this product for you, and you can actually just switch it out for an alternative. So I know for some guys that are just selling their own products, it is difficult to do that. So just being incredibly clear and upfront about, like, this item is in this warehouse or this item is here, be clear about that and say, okay, this one's going to take you this amount of time. If they are separate, most of them will be in that same scenario. But yeah, I think that's really important. And would you say that it's just as important in the final checkout to say that it's going to take this amount of time to deliver, or would that be another reason for someone to drop off? Like, you've been clear about it upfront, and now when they actually go and about to click purchase now, we've got a delivery time. Would that piss people off? Or
I don't think it pisses people off. Like, I actually think the more you can solve for people's, like, anxiety at that stage by giving over information, the better.
Yeah.
So even if you said it before, even if you said what the delivery fee is before, if they don't qualify for free delivery, one of the biggest reasons people, and we'll get to there from checkout to purchase, why they drop off, is like uncertainty and, like, they get nervous. So even if they've been extremely clear about, I know what I put in my cart, I know what the delivery fee is, and now they get sent to a gateway where they actually can't see the products that they've added. They're like, hold on, did I actually add that? Did I not add that? Like, that's when the anxiety sets in. So for the same reason, you want to emphasize delivery cost and delivery time, all the things that, could cause anxiety. You want to be explicitly clear throughout the journey as much as possible. And just one thing, like you raised, I think it's important, speaking about Takealot and all the others, and Amazon and so on, that in the old days of e-commerce, before the Takealot worlds and that, I think e-commerce stores' competitors were the normal retail competitors. And if they were delivering within 3 days, and if that was the benchmark, and if they could match that, that's fine. Now with Takealot and people's options out there, one's competitors are the guys that are doing the best. So if Takealot can deliver for free for 500 Rand, and your margins are not that great, and it's difficult for you to do that. It's difficult if you can't compete on that. So you see, like, I would actually use Takealot's benchmarks in terms of free delivery thresholds and delivery times as the one you actually have to compete against, and not your competitors. And you've got to try and find a way to make up a margin elsewhere, because that's where people are going. And if we've so often seen this, that even if your pricing on your own site is cheaper than Takealot, often people would gravitate to Takealot either for confidence reasons, because like they have a bit more confidence in like stuff will come, and if they don't like it, they can return and so on. But often because of these delivery reasons, that they can get it quicker from Takealot. They can they'll get it cheaper from a delivery standpoint from Takealot. And I'd say even more than the product price, people are very, very sensitive about the delivery price. That's like the one thing I'd say that you can optimize to make to move the needle a lot.
Read.
All right, let's go to the last one.
Yeah.
Checkout to purchase. So now you've ticked all the boxes almost. They're happy with the price of the product. They're happy with the delivery free. Now they're going to buy. And kind of just briefly touching it now, but the biggest reason the drop-off happens from checkout to purchase is one, payment gateways. So sometimes there's a payment gateway error. So it's like, we call this like the technical problem phase. And the second thing is, like we spoke about a little bit now, is the anxiety stage. That there's been so much push for e-commerce sites to have that actual final checkout happening on their site itself rather than being sent to a payment gateway. And the main reason actually for that, why it works well, isn't really for like page speed, load times, nothing like that. It's more for the anxiety releasing ability of that. That when people can't see what's in their shopping cart that they added, they get nervous. And like, I don't know if anyone's played poker, they'll know this analogy, but like, you get dealt your cards and you've looked at your cards once and you looked at it twice. You've now looked at it for the 10th time. And now if the stakes get raised, like, you just got to double check that those two cards are still the two cards that were there 3 seconds ago. And it's the same effect for consumers or users on your site, that as soon as it's time to pay, that's when the anxiety sets in, and that's when people get nervous. So if you can almost maintain the knowledge for them, what's in their cart, what they've seen throughout the journey, particularly at this final stage where the anxiety is the highest, that's when you can solve this type of drop-off rate. Here's a 50%, which is very normal, but it sounds crazy that, like, why is there still a 50% drop-off rate at the final stage? But this is, as I say, it's quite normal, and this is one of the things you can do to solve for that.
And then how can people actually, make changes on their site? Like, obviously there's the route of going and installing like a Hotjar and a site tracker to see these final errors on that side. Are there any other ways, obviously living in your analytics here, that you're going to tell? Like, are those the two big? I think those are the two big options there.
Yeah, I think for most people, like, a video recording software is often not possible. Either like they're not comfortable with it, they don't have the time for it, or they don't know how to do it. I think what this does, it's if you just live in your analytics, and I'll do a quick summary roundup, that you can actually solve most of the problems by going with these main variables without even checking. So just like one summary roundup, if your drop-off rate here is too large, it's typically you got poor traffic, you got to fix your ads. If your product to cart drop-off is too high, that typically means that your pricing is like not great. If your cart to checkout drop-off is too high, that's typically a delivery issue. And if your checkout to purchase rate is too high, that's a payment gateway issue. So I think if you don't do any more, like you don't even do further digging into what else could it be, if you just trust that the main variable is the variable that's actually causing the issue, I think people will see big changes and big improvements quite quickly.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Today we broke down the GA4 customer journey for e-commerce stores. We analyzed the entire funnel from when users first land onto your site to viewing your product to adding it to cart and finally making a purchase. We dove into key topics of drop-off points at each stage and discussed how to better understand and address these gaps. I hope you found this episode insightful and that it helps you diagnose where your e-commerce store might be losing traffic, and more importantly, how you can improve those areas. If you make any changes based on what you've learned, let us know it works out. We'll be back next Thursday for more insights. Until then, take care and happy optimizing. Cheers.